Good evening. We are bringing you commentary of Manchester United versus AS Roma today from the Europa League. I'm your alternative host, Russ Vernon. I'm also joined by your commentator, Matt Iles, and you are listening to Football Commentary Live. This is the first leg of the Europa League semi-final tie at Old Trafford. The winners will play the winners of Villarreal versus Arsenal, which is also on Football Commentary Live this evening, and you can hear that over on Mike Ornamen's channel for Villarreal v Arsenal. So we'll keep you up to date on this channel on here tonight with that scoreline as well. So we'll keep you bang across that as we go along. We're looking forward to bringing you tonight's match, and we hope you enjoyed our last couple of nights with Champions League action. Plenty of goals in the last couple of nights. 1-1 on Tuesday between Real Madrid and Chelsea, and PSG Man City 2-1 win for the citizens. We'll look ahead to tonight's game now, and we'll look at with some of the team lineups. For Roma, there's a return to Old Trafford for Chris Smalling tonight. There's also got Edin Dzeko, the former Man City man, Enric Mkhitaryan, the former Arsenal man, in the squad tonight for Roma as well. We're joined now by our commentator for this evening's match, and Matt Iles. And Matt, just mentioned a few players there from Roma who played in the Premier League. Chris Smalling played at Old Trafford for Manchester United, and Dzeko for Man City. Enric Mkhitaryan played for Arsenal as well in the Premier League at Old Trafford. Especially Chris Smalling. Just touching on Chris Smalling quickly. How do you feel? Do you think he'll be going through his mind? Do you reckon he'll be wanting to get a goal on his return to Old Trafford with Roma tonight, Matt?
I think he'll be looking to keep a clean sheet. I think, obviously, Man United are the heavy bookie favourites to win the Europa League. Obviously, he's done okay. I think it's fair to say since leaving Manchester United. He impressed on loan last year in the Italian capital and has sort of thrived, you could say. He's had a bit of an injury-hit season, Chris Smalling, but I think he is someone that has adored going to Italy. Of course, as we know, it's a country that is very well known for defending and sort of employing this catenaccio system and sort of treating it as an art, if you like, in terms of defending. But yeah, I think he'll be looking forward to his return tonight. Also, as well, you didn't mention that Henrik Mkhitaryan is also returning to Old Trafford. But obviously, he's playing on the other side of the pitch, which is obviously going forward. But defensively, Smalling will be looking to come to Old Trafford tonight with Roma and keep a clean sheet, because as we know, it's going to be a hard thing to keep Rashford, Fernandes, Pogba and Edinson Cavani quiet.
Yes, I was just about to touch upon some of the Man United players. Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, as you mentioned, Paul Pogba, Edinson Cavani. On Monday, on Sunday, should I say, Leeds United midfielder Calvin Phillips kept Bruno Fernandes pretty quiet. Phillips said after the game he was given a job to man mark Bruno Fernandes, and because he didn't score, he still thought he did that job well. You saw that game for us, Matt, on Sunday. How do you think Calvin Phillips did against Bruno Fernandes, and do you think Bruno Fernandes will be looking to try and get on the creative spark after being closely blocked off and kept quiet by the Leeds United and England midfielder?
Yeah, he'll be looking to shine tonight, Fernandes. There's no doubt about it. I think Phillips did do a very good job against him on Sunday. And I think, obviously, that's the first point of call for Roma. They've got a two-man midfield in there tonight. And obviously, you look at the defence, maybe they might get an extra defender of the three to come out and close him down even further, because, as they know, he's such an influential player in this Manchester United team.
He is, Matt, as you say, influential player in the team as well. Cavani starts tonight, and Mason Greenwood drops down to the bench, who played against Leeds. Also does Dan James as well, with Paul Pogba starting. So with Paul Pogba and Dean Henderson drops to the bench, with David De Gea back in goal tonight. And with De Gea in goal, he now probably knows that he's not going to be the first choice in the Premier League. Do you feel he wants to put on a performance to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a headache going into this weekend's match against Liverpool, or Do you think he'll have a point to prove that he should be playing in the Premier League as well?
I think he'll be looking to prove a point, most definitely, Russ. I think you're absolutely spot on. He was, king of the Old Trafford goalkeeping ranks for so many years. Dean Henderson's trodden on his toes and has took the #1 jersey. It was a big call from Solskjaer to put him in, but Henderson, with every game that he's playing in the Premier League, has had the trust under the Man United manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So obviously De Gea has been demoted to second choice and playing regular minutes in the Europa League. So he'll be looking to shine tonight, but of course it isn't a bad replacement to have if you've got your so-called first choice on the bench in Dean Henderson for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yes, and with De Gea being second choice in the Premier League now and only being choice for Europa League matches, do you feel if he's going to be staying that way going into next season, do you feel that he may want to leave Old Trafford to get regular first team football, or do you think he'll be happy playing second fiddle behind Henderson and try and push Henderson all the way going into next season?
I think he'll want to be #1. I think obviously he'll want to be the country's #1, Spain in terms of as well, and obviously be United #1. So maybe he'll push for a move, but of course you've got to think, is anybody really going to be able to get a new goalkeeper come the summer? But I think as well, he'll look to maybe stay at United and push for his place. But I think maybe looking away from Old Trafford, not many teams would look to probably go and sign him. Any top clubs anyway.
Yes, the players are out onto the field of play right now. You can see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer talking to his opposite number as they walk down the touchline. Paulo Fonseca as well. The players are ready for kick-off. So we're all ready for kick-off as well. So it's time for us to hand over to your match commentator for the first half coverage is Matt Iles. We'll be bringing Matt with us in a couple of minutes. The players are out on the field of play, just waiting for Matt to jump in a second, just doing the UEFA Europa League national anthem, UEFA Europa League anthem. Then he'll come in for us, so we'll get ready to hand over to Matt Iles very, very soon. In seconds from now, Matt.
Thank you, Russ. Well, Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have one thing plaguing them at the moment, is the fact that they can't overcome an opponent in a semi-final. 4 defeats in 4 semi-finals, with one of those to severe in this competition last season, sees the Norwegian and his squad hoping to change that this time round. Whilst they attempt to overcome that mental barrier, the lust and need for trophies amongst the hierarchy and the fans at Old Trafford is something that is always going to be a big thing at the club. And Solskjaer hopes he can deliver his first piece of silverware as United boss and the club's first in 4 years. And this competition is their last chance to claim something for this season. United's opponents, Roma, are a side struggling in Serie A, all the way down in 7th place. And it looks increasingly likely that they won't finish in the top 4 and, of course, get one of those coveted spaces in Serie A to qualify for the Champions League. And they rest on pretty much winning this competition if they are to join club football's greatest club competition. With the final just under a month away, there is a real possibility that there could be a second All-English final. But, of course, both of them have to negotiate very tricky ties in Villarreal and Roma, respectively, if they are to progress. Let's go through the two sides, starting with Manchester United. 3 changes for them, in fact, from their 0-0 draw with Leeds United at Ellen Road on Sunday. David De Gea in goal in place of Dean Henderson, who, of course, has thwarted him as the #1, the English goalkeeper. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof and Shaw keep their places at the back. It's McTominay and Thread, the 2 usual holding midfielders, Rashford, Fernandes and Pogba, and Cavani leads the line on his own. Pogba replaces James and Cavani replaces Mason Greenwood, who drops to the bench. The subs: Lee Grant, Henderson, Bailly, Twanzebe, Telles, Mata, Williams, Dan James, Donny van der Beek, Ahmad, Mason Greenwood, and Nemanja Matic. Roma makes 7 changes to their team. They go with Paul Lopez in goal, Roger Ibanez, Chris Smalling, Brian Cristante as the back 3, as Manchester United players and Roma players, of course, take the knee in the fight for racial discrimination to be cut out on social media and, of course, in society. I'll just go through the rest of the team. Rick Karsdorp, Diawara, Jordan Veretout, and Leonardo Spinazzola are the 4 in midfield. Mkhitaryan and Pellegrini, the captain, are playing as attacking midfielders with Edin Dzeko up front, as it is the visitors who get us underway. United in their red shirts, black shorts, black socks. A change in that regard, of course, as Roma have got a sort of cream away strip, if you like. And of course, with that being an all strip of red, from top to bottom, it means United have to change the black shorts. Their subs are Daniel Fusato, Antonio Mirante, Davide Santon, Marash Kumbala, Bruno Perez, Gonzalo Villar, Carles Perez, Bora Mayoral, Ricardo Chiervo, and Ebrima Darbo are the 10 subs for Roma. Of course, you don't quite have the luxury of Manchester United being able to name 2 extra subs, as Lindelof sends that out for a throw-in to Roma. In the early stages here, we are 60 seconds into this first leg of the semi-final between these two sides, as Manchester United, to some bookies and pundits, are going to be the winners of this competition come the end of May. But as we know, the semi-final has always been that burden for them under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. 4 semi-finals that they've lost in a row under him, 2 in the League Cup, 1 in the FA Cup, and 1 in the Europa League last year to Sevilla, really means that this means a little bit more to probably the manager personally than to his players, as it's another throw into Roma down this left-hand side with Leonardo Spinazzola. One of the 7 changes tonight as he comes in place of Bruno Perez, who comes out in his place. Here is Chris Smalling, of course, returning to Old Trafford for the first time since making a permanent move to the Giada Rossi. Here is now Jordan Veretout, of course, a name that Aston Villa fans will certainly remember. And he's pulled up here as he kicks the ball out of play. And 2.25 minutes in, Paulo Fonseca might have to reshuffle the pack here, as the French midfielder, who, of course, replaced Gonzalo Villar in the team, may see his evening cut short. Well, the ball came into him on the United left-hand side, and he knew quickly that something wasn't right, and he kicked the ball at himself as he wanted to take a breath and allow some treatment to be given to himself. And of course, remember, there is the other UEFA Europa League semi-final taking place with Arsenal taking on Villarreal in Spain. And we will give you updates on that game throughout this match on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Should you feel that this game isn't interesting and you want to be tuning into Arsenal Villarreal, then Mike Arneman is your man covering that, as the game will continue with the ball getting kicked back to Roma's defence, as the ball from Ibanez was not the best one, as it's gone out of play for a United throw. Here is now Luke Shaw, who's had a fine renaissance under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now it's with Fred on the ball to Victor Lindelof. Jordan Veretout has come on back onto the field of play. So Roma do have their full complement of players. Fred into Cavani. Nice ball out to the left to Pogba. Of course, scored the winner in Milan in the round of 16. Second leg into Fernandez. Thought about the shot. Diawara closes him down quickly. In it goes. Chris Smalling sees the ball run off his chest as Roma are able to clear it out for a throw-in. But it was nice quick play there by United. Pogba played the ball through to Fernandez, who got crowded out there by Amadou Diawara, who I think has been given the duty of following the Portuguese midfielder closely. And I think Jordan Veretout's evening is going to come to an abrupt end so early on, as the man who he replaced in the team for tonight's game is going to come on in his place just 5 minutes into this one at Old Trafford with the score at 0-0. So early on, Paulo Fonseca has got to make a change to this team, and it is not ideal for him that he's got to make that. So off goes Veretout. There is the confirmation. And Gonzalo Villar, the young Spanish midfielder who signed from Elche just over a year ago, comes on in his place and is a player that Fonseca does really like in this Roma side. And it's the first touch for the goalkeeper, Pau Lopez, who had a spell on loan at Tottenham Hotspur a few years ago, albeit never playing a single appearance for the North London side, as Henrik Mkhitaryan, of course, a former United player, a scorer in the Europa League final 4 years ago in Stockholm against Ajax. Wins a throw for Roma. Will be Spinazzola who's going to take it. Bought for big money from Juventus in the summer of 2019. Fred cuts it out as he gets there ahead of Edin Dzeko, who's found scoring in the Europa League pretty good of late. He, of course, scored the equaliser against Ajax in the second leg of the quarter-final that secured their passage into the semi-finals, of course. Should that have stayed 1-0, it wouldn't have made a difference anyway, because Roma would have gone through on that away goal rule. Here is the number 3, Ibanez. Clears it forward. Pogba then angles it towards Fernandes, and Brian Cristante has been put under pressure. His clearance goes straight to Pogba. Karsdorp heads it to Bruno Fernandes, who thought about letting it run out for a corner, but instead gives it to Luke Shaw. Here comes the United left back. Now to Fernandes with a chance to cross, which he does. Left by the midfielder, Cristante. Well, midfielder turned centre-back, rather, as they're able to clear. Here's Scott McTominay to Fernandes. Villarreal have taken it against Arsenal. Manu Trigueros with a goal in that one, as Unai Emery, of course, is the Europa League specialist, has got the early lead against the side that he, of course, used to manage in that one at the Estadio El Madrigal. Here, though, 8 minutes gone here. In the other semi-final, Manchester United 0, Roma 0. It is the score, as the only notable thing that you can safely say has happened so far is that Jordan Veretout has been replaced by Gonzalo Villar in the opening exchanges of this one at Old Trafford. And previous meetings between these two, Manchester United do have a good record against their Italian opponents tonight, as Luke Shaw sends Karsdorp to the floor with a show of strength there down that left-hand side. Is Wan-Bissaka for United. Now Scott McTominay in the middle, now to Fred. Now to Luke Shaw. Tries to cross it in, but it's well blocked by Lorenzo Pellegrini, the Roma captain. And United get a throw in. Well, they've won all their meetings that they've played Roma at home, including that 7-1 hammering in the Champions League quarterfinals back in 2007. And then they beat them the same year in the group stages the following season. Cavani to Fernandes, who's in, and he's chipped it beautifully over Pau Lopez. And Manchester United lead with 9 minutes on the clock. Lovely pass through to Bruno Fernandes. One-on-one with Pau Lopez. He stayed so cool to just dink it over his head. And it's Manchester United 0, Roma 1. And it's come from their most influential player, Bruno Fernandes. Well, Pogba starts this move off. He just dances his way past the Roma defence, and he then just gives it to Cavani. It was really instinctive to play that first time to Fernandes, who makes that run. They're both on the same wavelength. When a pass like that is pulled off, it is absolutely exceptional. And Lopez tries to just get down at Fernandes' feet, but it's come to no avail, and he's unsuccessful as Fernandes just guides it over his head and into the back of the net to give United the lead against Roma at Old Trafford. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's off from the bench. And the Portuguese midfielder, who is a star in this Manchester United side, gets them off to a dream start, as the Italian side, who did not want to concede early, have fallen victim to that and to Bruno Fernandes. And he's done that on so many occasions against many opponents, both at home and abroad. Here is the goal scorer, Fernandez. He's just about kept that in. Gets the cross in. It's gone off Gonzalo Villar, and it's gone for a Manchester United corner, which is incidentally their first one inside the opening 10 minutes. Well, he does like playing in the Europa League, does Bruno Fernandes. He's been directly involved in more goals in the competition since February 2018 than any other player. 26 in total. Well, 27 now in this case. 18 goals and 9 assists. He is a man who really does shine in this competition. As the corner's taken short by Shaw. Now to Rashford. And his former teammate, Henrik Mkhitaryan, has knocked that out for another Manchester United corner. And one thing Roma don't want to do is go and concede a second goal, because that would lead them into a real disaster area, you think. Shaw goes short to the Fernandes this time, who tries the cross, but it was too low, and it's thumped clear by the Roma defence as David De Gea is allowed to come out of his box, and then he knocks it forward for Rashford to chase, but it's not the best ball into Rashford, and it's gone up for a Roma throw. And if you are just tuning into Football Commentary Live, it is Manchester United 1, Roma 0. Bruno Fernandes, with his 4th goal in this season's Europa League, has given Manchester United the lead to their Italian visitors. And that's not the only thing that we've got on Football Commentary Live over the next few days. We'll have Championship action for you on Saturday lunchtime as Nicholas Jones and Russ Vernon bring you live coverage of struggling Sheffield Wednesday against Nottingham Forest from that at Hillsborough. Newcastle versus Arsenal is our main portion on Sunday. Jack Cunningham and Mike Arneman will be bringing you the game from St James's Park. And West Brom versus Wolves, the Black Country Derby, as Kieran Riley will be bringing you that one. Here's Edin Dzeko, though, for Roma as they look to try and break on United. Mkhitaryan, the Armenian, lays it on the edge of the box to Dzeko. He misses it. And then Villar gives it to Karsdorp, who has to slide in to cross it in. Did it bounce off Pogba or did it bounce off Karsdorp? It's gone for, I think, a Roma corner, but I think he might have pointed to the penalty spot here. They're saying, Roma, that was a handball on Paul Pogba. The referee from Spain, Carlos del Cerro Grande, is consoling his 4th official down that right-hand side. And they're having words about whether or not that is a penalty. Both sets of players swarm around the officials. His assistant down on that side, Roberto Alonso Fernandez. What is the decision? They've come to a decision, and it stands as a Roma penalty. Well, he didn't give it at first, and then after a few seconds of deliberating, he's given it. Pogba's arm is up in the air. It does brush his boot from Karsdorp's slip, but with his arm out there, you do have to say that is a penalty. And United, who were in front inside 9 minutes, maybe pegged back within 5 minutes. It is going to VAR now as the camera pans to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The check has been complete, and it's now over to Lorenzo Pellegrini to get Roma level. And what would be their first shot on David De Gea's goal? The Roma captain looking to get the better of the Spanish goalkeeper and to get Roma that crucial away goal, which always comes in handy in these European games. Big kick of a football for Lorenzo Pellegrini. Up he steps and he scores. De Gea died to his right. It was the right way, but it was too much of a good penalty for him to keep out. And Roma have equalised at Old Trafford, and it's come from the skipper, Lorenzo Pellegrini. Manchester United 1, Roma 1. It was a really good penalty right into the corner from Lorenzo Pellegrini. He just has that little warm-up, doesn't he, to just go and take that penalty right in the corner. De Gea was just a little bit too low and trying to keep it out. He is unlucky, to be fair. Even if he had just been a little bit higher trying to keep that out, I don't know if he actually would have done, to be fair. But a really good penalty from Pellegrini. Stayed cool and calm and has slotted the penalty away, and it's 1-1. Well, he did take his time to give that Carlos Del Cerro Grande, the Spanish referee. And then after a brief bit of hesitation, he then thought about it and said, yeah, that is enough to give a penalty. Then checked with his linesman, Roberto Alonso Fernandez, and he concluded alongside him jointly that that was a penalty, and Roma have equalised. That might just be the goal that just sparks him into life and gets the wind in their sails as Mkhitaryan knocks it away from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But the first 15 and a half minutes have yielded 2 goals, with it being 1-1 here at Old Trafford in this Europa League first leg semi-final. Maguire to Pogba, tries to turn but slips. Chris Smalling was putting him under pressure. And then Pellegrini, the goal scorer, tries to backheel it through to Dzeko, but it just didn't have enough on it as United are able to bring it out. Luke Shaw with the ball. Here's Fred. Out to the right now to find Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Now Marcus Rashford looks down the middle of the pitch for Bruno Fernandes. Cleared away by the Roma defence. McTominay now to Cavani. United in possession. Here's Fred. Now Luke Shaw. Taking on Rick Karsdorp. Decides to give it to Pogba, of course. He's playing in that left wing position as he has done a few times this season under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. McTominay. Wan-Bissaka. His pass has been blocked off by Spinazzola. And then it goes to the Roma defender who bounces it off Marcus Rashford. And it goes for a Roma throw in their own half, which Leonardo Spinazzola is going to go and take. He then looks down the line for Dzeko. McTominay wins the ball above the Bosnian striker. The towering Bosnian, I might add as well, knows all about scoring at Old Trafford. He did it nearly a decade ago, in which Manchester City, of course, his previous club, absolutely trounced Manchester United 6-1. What was one of Fergie's lowest ever days as Manchester United boss. There weren't many of them, to be fair. Here's McTominay. Now Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Lindelof to Harry Maguire. Now it's Scott McTominay. Fernandes. McTominay. Challenge goes in by Amadou Diawara. Free kick given by Carlos Del Cerro Grande, the Spanish referee. He did just go in there and catch McTominay's feet. Good decision and by the referee. Rashford gets around Ibanez. And then there to cover him is Spinazzola. Cross goes in by Fernandes, and Pau Lopez clutches that one safely and doesn't spill it at all, as that was a nice bit of goalkeeping there by the Spaniard, who is in his second season now with the Giallo Rossi. Smalling looks to find Dzeko. Cut out by Fred. McTominay slips. That's the second United player that has slipped on this luscious surface. Mkhitaryan tries to play it through to Pellegrini. Blocked by the United defence. Even if that had trickled on through to Pellegrini, the flag would have been raised. I think he did just stray a little bit offside. Cavani looks down the line for Rashford, who made the run into the Roma box. Good defending there by Ibanez. Holding it up against Rashford on his own defensive final line, you could add. Wan-Bissaka to Rashford. There's another appeal for a handball, which has been given eventually by the referee Del Cerro Grande. And it's against Wan-Bissaka, who's been penalised as he used his arm there and used his hand to win possession back, as well as his feet. Play resumes with Lopez knocking the ball forward. Maguire does well to win it against Dzeko. That's going to be an interesting battle, isn't it? Edin Dzeko up front in place of Borja Mayoral, who is the Europa League's top goal scorer, or joint top goal scorer, alongside Yusuf Yazici and Pizzi of Lille and Benfica, respectively. But of course, Fonseca has gone for the more experienced approach of Edin Dzeko, and you can't blame him when it is a massive game for Roma, in which I have to say their season pretty much hinders on this, doesn't it? as I mentioned before, the ball was kicked. Not the best of passes by Maguire, but Smalling intercepted, and it was cut out in the end by the United defence. Pogba was fouled, but it's a vantage play. Could it be a good advantage for United? He then plays it forward to Rashford. Couldn't quite get it under close control. Then tries to give it to Fernandes, but the ball went astray from the Portuguese midfielder, and then Roma can come away with it with Mkhitaryan. He gives it to Diawara. Ibanez is under pressure from Cavani, and then happily decides to just clear that away for a United throw. But Pogba using his strength to good effect to hold off the Roma player as he was trying to pursue an attacking opportunity for either Rashford or Cavani. Here is Cristante. Fred cuts it out. He then knocks it forward. It will trickle on through to Fernandes. Cavani is onside. Time just seemed to stop a little bit there. Looks for McTominay, but it's over his head as he was situated on the edge of the box. Here's Wan-Bissaka coming inside. Clips it on his left foot. Away by Chris Smalling. Then away by Spinazzola. Knocked on by Wan-Bissaka. And Rashford goes down under the challenge from Roger Ibanez. And Manchester United have a free kick. Well, he went up for the header there, Ibanez, and there was an arm in the back of the head of Marcus Rashford, and the referee decides on that occasion to give a free kick. And a chance for Bruno Fernandes to strike at goal, or even Marcus Rashford for that fact. It was Rashford who came closest to scoring on Sunday in that 0-0 draw against Leeds, and what was probably the closest chance United had of beating Illan Meslier that day. Rashford is not actually around this free kick. It is Fred and Fernandes. It's a four-man Roma wall. Pellegrini, Smalling are two of the four in it. Fernandes is going to go for goal, but it's too high from the Portuguese midfielder, and Pau Lopez just comfortably sees that one go over his crossbar. You know what he's trying to do, He's trying to just put it at his near post. Pau Lopez is anyway, and the goalie gives him a lot of room. I think he knows that Fernandes is going to try and hit that in that position. And obviously, with goalkeepers, they know that if they're good off their feet and they know that a player's going to put it in the area that they've left a lot of, it's there to be hit, and it's up to the player to get it right. Wan-Bissaka through to Rashford, who's just about going to keep that in. The whole ball didn't look out there to me, to be fair. Rashford plays it to Fernandes. Now to McTominay, has to go back to Victor Lindelof. Now Maguire, Fred, then knocks it back to David De Gea, whose only thing he's had to do is pick the ball out of the net. After that Lorenzo Pellegrini penalty, which saw Roma equalise after Bruno Fernandes' opener 9 minutes in. And then just around about 5 minutes later, Roma equalise. Here come United and Marcus Rashford driving at Ibanez. He gets a little bit lucky. Comes to Fernandes, but he doesn't put enough behind it. And Fernandes has just almost tried to pass it into the goal, but it's not worked out for him, and it's gone out for a Roma goal kick. Well, Rashford's running at Ibanez, and he gets a little bit lucky because it bounces off the Roma defender into Rashford's path, and then he lays it off to Fernandes, and he's got to think quickly because he's got a sliding challenge from Smalling coming across him, and he just takes it after the first touch of his, and then he shoots on the second one, and it wasn't the best of attempts by him. Spinazzola with an awkward ball to Smalling, who's forced to go right back to the corner flag on that left-hand side. Not the best clearance to McTominay, and then he tried to play it to Fernandes. He then tried to lay it off to Cavani, I think, but Cavani was not there at all. And then Mkhitaryan gives it away to Wan-Bissaka. Now Fernandes to Pogba. He's going to come in from that left side. Pogba shoots. Lopez with a good save. Wan-Bissaka drilling it in. Well blocked by Spinazzola. First bit of work Pau Lopez has had to do tonight. He made a really good, strong save to stop Paul Pogba. Lopez is down, and the referee, Carlos Del Cerro Grandes, stopped play to allow the Roma goalkeeper to receive some treatment, and I think that actually might be a result from that save. He flung himself at Pogba's shot. That was a really good strike by the French midfielder. It was a good left hand to keep it out from Lopez. And I think just as he went to ground to save it, I think he sort of landed quite heavily and placed a lot of weight on that left arm of his. And he is sort of clutching his shoulder as he goes down. So he will now receive some treatment. 25.5 minutes played. It is Manchester United 1, Roma 1, and they might be forced to make another change here as Antonio Mirante is stripped and ready to come on, as Paulo Fonseca's adored a Peaky Blinder type sort of cap to wear on the sideline to sort of keep his hair intact and keep it dry and not allow the wet to soak through. Of course, with the goalkeeper, if it's an arm injury or a hand injury, you have got to be sure that he is fit to continue. And of course, should Lopez feel in any discomfort or not be certain that he can carry on, or the physios for that fact, and Paulo Fonseca has got to make that change to bring on Antonio Mirante, who's a very experienced head. I think Lopez is going to be all right to continue as he just sort of shakes his arms about. Physios are deep in conversation with him. The referee is there just alongside Paulo Lopez, who I think might be heading off here. Well, he looks down at the floor, does Paulo Lopez, as he is off the pitch now, and Paulo Fonseca has got to make another change here. And it will see Antonio Mirante, who missed the last game, come on in the Spaniards' place. So 2 first-half changes have been made, and they've been 2 changes that have been forced upon Paulo Fonseca. So 2 of his key players have gone down with injuries, and that isn't ideal for the remainder of the first leg. And of course, what is to come in the second leg at the Stadio Olimpico next week as Manchester United get the play back underway. Mkhitaryan now to Spinazzola. Here's Edin Dzeko. Goes to the right. It's a lovely ball to Rick Karsdorp, who's going to keep that in with his head. Now he gives it to Gonzalo Villar. Here's Chris Smalling now to Brian Cristante. And then it went to Ibanez, but there across was Rashford to defend that, and it's gone for a Roma throw. Spinazzola gets it back from Mkhitaryan. This is a good run by the Roma left wing back. Now he goes to the right with Rick Karsdorp. Low cross goes in. Maguire with a vital clearance away. It was just putting that anywhere was Harry Maguire, and he happily will give away a throw-in. But there was a lot of space for Roma down that right-hand side. Luke Shaw tucked in. Almost acted as a back 4 line there rather than go out to close Karsdorp down. And Karsdorp looked up and tried to play the ball in, but it was cut out. And the resulting throw is a waste as Villar and Karsdorp try the return amongst one another, but it's seen Villar's touch back to Karsdorp go out for a throw-in. Man United have the throw-in here with Luke Shaw. Through to Fernandez, who does well to be picked out from that. Wan-Bissaka. Fernandez was fouled by a Roma player, but advantage is played. Here's Rashford. Taking on Spinazzola. Spinazzola just about knocks Rashford off balance, but he still keeps the ball at his feet. Nice play through to McTominay, who is not able to get a touch onto it because Roger Ibanez does well to hold off McTominay, and Roma have a goal kick with half an hour on the clock. It is Manchester United 1, Roma 1 on a game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter. Follow us at Commentary Live 1, capital C, capital L within that. And then, of course, you can follow us on Facebook if you go to us. And you can simply log into facebook.com/footcom live. As Roma win a free kick, Dzeko is down, and Carlos Del Cerro Grande lost his footing a little bit there. Foul was by Maguire, who was just probably a little bit too high as he caught the ankle of Dzeko, and then he turned round Del Cerro Grande and then just nearly tripped over completely over Edin Dzeko, but luckily he did just sort of stumble and lean over him as Cristante's passes an overhit one as it's gone out for a United throw. Remember, I've given the ball away in a real poor area. They've conceded throw-ins from this. Pogba goes down and wins a free kick as Chris Smalling clips him. Pogba, of course, was trying to knock it around Chris Smalling as he was fouled. And Villarreal have now gone 2-0 up against Arsenal. Raul Albiol has scored in that game in Spain as Unai Emery's side are 2 to the good in that one. It's a United free kick. First bit of work potentially for Antonio Morante to do, the replacement goalkeeper who came on around about 4 minutes ago. Pellegrini and Mkhitaryan are in the wall. Shaw and Fernandes are over this. It will be Fernandes who takes. Morante was diving for it. Smalling got it away. There was 2 Roma players in front of him able to deal with it. They did their homework there because they knew Fernandes was going to try and catch Morante out. And smart defending and reading of where Fernandes was putting that there. Difficult one for Smalling to deal with. He lets it run on through to Morante, who takes a touch with his foot and then just picks the rest of the ball up and keeps it in his hands. 13 minutes of the first half remaining. Man United 1, Roma 1. Man United took the lead 9 minutes in. Bruno Fernandes with his 25th goal of the season put the Red Devils in front, and then Roma equalised from the penalty spot with Lorenzo Pellegrini scoring following a Paul Pogba handball from a Rick Karsdorp pass that has seen Roma get that crucial away goal. And since that, really, they have been okay. In fact, they were a little bit shaky in the opening sort of 10 minutes, but that equaliser really has set them on the right path. Mkhitaryan through to Pellegrini, who's onside, and he's squares it to Dzeko, and Roma have scored, and they are now 2-1 up at Old Trafford. Edin Dzeko, a man so familiar with the blue side of Manchester, rolls it in with the easiest of finishes past David De Gea, and Manchester United have now fallen behind at Old Trafford in this Europa League semi-final first leg. Manchester United 1, Roma 2. Well, Spinazzola to Mkhitaryan, and he slides it through. He's onside. He's being played on by Luke Shaw, who, as that ball goes on through to Pellegrini, is practically level with the Roma captain. And he looks at Pellegrini. He stays calm, and he brilliantly just plays it along the floor to Edin Dzeko, who looks at the situation and thinks, I've just got to get in the right position to just get my foot to it. And he's done exactly that. It's not the most orthodox of finishes because he's hit it actually off his right foot onto his left knee as it's gone in the back of the net. He's avoided a stinker there as Edin Dzeko and got a little bit lucky, but Manchester United have fallen behind and they're the architects of their own downfall. Well, Dzeko, of course, scored in the last Europa League game against Ajax, in which they drew 1-1 at the Stadio Olimpico to go through and progress 3-2 on aggregate against the Dutch Giants to set up this semi-final against Manchester United. And he scored tonight at Old Trafford once again, just like he did 10 years ago with Manchester City in that 6-1 hammering of Manchester United, and he's repeated the feat as the Bosnian striker, who is a well-known name amongst the English game, Dzeko now to Pellegrini. Now Mkhitaryan is flagged offside eventually. The flag did take its time to go up. Admittedly there. But we're into the final 10 minutes. It's Manchester United 1, Roma 2. Roma, remember, were 1-0 down after 9 minutes from Bruno Fernandes's goal. But they've come back to lead 2-1 here with Pellegrini scoring from the spot. And then Edin Dzeko scoring just a few minutes ago. Not the best kick by Morante. Pogba now to McTominay. Cavani now to the right to Wan-Bissaka. Here's Rashford. It's United's turn to try and get an equaliser. It's a tantalising ball, which Chris Smalling is able to head away. Dzeko then to Mkhitaryan. Now is the counter on for Roma. Options for Pellegrini aren't the best or the most obvious. And he tried to play it to the left to Dzeko, but it's took a deflection off Victor Lindelof and gone back into the path of his centre-back partner, Harry Maguire. Lindelof looking down the pitch for Rashford, who's going to chase, but is flagged offside. Well, that is a real kick in the teeth for Manchester United. It almost felt that the world was against Roma, wasn't it? There was a sign potentially that they weren't going to have it their own way. They, of course, were 1-0 down and already made a change by that point as Veretout came off, and now they've had to make a third alteration as Leonardo Spinazzola has replaced Bruno Perez. So 3 substitutions have been made, and we're not even at half-time yet. And remember, Roma have only got 2 more subs they can make. And this is not going to help their situation for the next game that they have, which is against Sampdoria in Serie A on Sunday. And then, of course, they've got the return against Manchester United next Thursday. And, of course, they do have the likes of Pedro and Nicola Zaniolo, Riccardo Cagliafiori unavailable due to injury, and Gianluca Mancini suspended, the first-choice centre-back. It has meant that a reshuffle had to take place from Fonseca even before tonight's match, and it has forced his hand to make even more changes to his team with 3 players in Spinazzola, Paul Lopez and Jordan Veretout going off as well. I wonder how the legs will be feeling toward the end if it is this scoreline. Wan-Bissaka takes under control very nicely from Maguire's crossfield pass. Rashford is the option down the line as he's racing onto it. Ibanez is out quickly to close him down. The last touch is off Marcus Rashford as Ibanez did very, very well to knock that against Marcus Rashford, and that for a throw-in. Well, the semi-final curse at the moment is striking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There is another leg and another half to play with this one, but semi-finals is something that he just can't seem to get the better of as Manchester United manager, as Pogba takes a tumble. Of course, all his own doing as well. Mkhitaryan just holds off Pogba and lets the ball go out for a throw-in. You can see the subs situated around the dugout area behind it anyway. You can see Spinazzola receiving treatment. You can see Veretout there, I think, as well, receiving treatment. So they're going to be closely monitored and checked, I would have expected, for the next few weeks, in which, of course, Roma all right, just looking to finish as high as they can now in Serie A. There is a chance for them to finish 5th. But, of course, what they really want is the Champions League, which they look like they won't be doing via the Champions League places in their own country. And, of course, if they are to do it, they're going to have to win this competition. Dzeko fouls Scott McTominay. And it almost, this competition, hinders on the future of Paulo Fonseca. Of course, he led Roma to the round of 16 last year. before they were beaten by Sevilla in the finals. Cavani chases that ball from Fernandez, who played that from the left-hand touchline, but Cavani is unable to get on the end of it or get a touch to it at least. Of course, and this year they have probably produced their best football in the Europa League. They've beaten Shakhtar Donetsk, European regular in the Europa League. Paulo Fonseca's former side, the side he left to take charge of. Roma, Braga, Ajax as well have been beaten in the knockout rounds. They had 4 wins from their 6 group games. The only results that they didn't pick up were against CSK, Sofia, drawing and losing to the Bulgarian side. As Dzeko goes in on Wan-Bissaka's United have a free kick in their own half, which is taken quickly. But Tomine gives it to Victor Lindelof. Now here's Harry Maguire. High raking ball out to Wan-Bissaka. United in possession have been pretty much what they were like against Leeds. A little bit slow and not really moving it quick enough, but it could be about to change it with Rashford into Cavani. Played that really closely to him, didn't he? Almost fired it in his foot. Fred putting it in the hard yards as he tries to chase the Roma clearance down. It did bounce off Fred, and he stopped it going out at least for a goal kick, and then instead just knocks it out for a throw. And as Paul Pogba has perhaps said, he should have been given a free kick, and he does have a case as Ibanez was putting an arm around his neck. Remember, our action on Football Commentary Live doesn't stop. On Saturday lunchtime, Nicholas Jones and Ross Vernon will be your commentators as Sheffield Wednesday look to keep their fluttering championship hopes alive against Nottingham Forest. Join us for that one on Saturday. Sunday, Newcastle and Arsenal is our main portion from St James's Park. Arsenal, of course, having a dreadful night in their first leg of their Europa League semi-final. 2-0 down, of course, to Villarreal as it stands. And then on Monday, we bring you West Brom against Wolves with Kieran Riley bringing you that one as the Black Country Derby is taking place at the Hawthorns. And then Russ Vernon will bring you Burnley against West Ham. That game, of course, kicking off later in the evening on Bank Holiday Monday. And, of course, there's an extra game in there for you, which is a real treat, no doubt, for all our listeners on Twitter and Facebook. As the ball played down the line for Dzeko has gone out for a throw, and we are edging closer toward the end of the first half. The score is Man United 1, Roma 2. Final 2 minutes of this half left to play. Manchester United went 1-0 up with Bruno Fernandes scoring 9 minutes in before Roma equalised from the penalty spot with Lorenzo Pellegrini, the captain, and then he got an assist for Edin Dzeko to score and make it 2-1 and put the game in Roma's favour. But they have in this first half made 3 alterations in which 3 key players have gone off. In the goalie, Paul Lopez, the left wing back, Leonardo Spinazzola, and the midfielder, Jordan Veretout, went off very early on. And their replacements, Villar, Perez and Mirante, have come on earlier than expected, or in probably Mirante's case, wasn't even expected to come on as he's only just come back from injury himself. Dzeko with a heavy touch that's given United a throw, which Shaw takes quickly to Victor Lindelof. United desperate to go into the break level, whilst Roma desperate to hold on to go into the break in the lead. Here is Lindelof with the ball in his own half. Now plays it left to Maguire. Forward by the United captain to Cavani. Flag will now go up as the referee blows his whistle. He just waited and waited and waited. And then he, of course, did blow his whistle as Cavani was in a very tight offside position, I must admit. Uruguayan, of course, very, very familiar with Roma fans, of course. He played against them with Napoli and Palermo in his Serie A days. McTominay is knocked off the ball by Mkhitaryan. He did really well to win that battle with him and the Scot. Pellegrini is fouled by Maguire, goes into the back of him. He's saying he got the ball. I don't think he got any of the ball. Did the United captain of Roma got a free kick? He gets his foot first, doesn't he? He does get his toe on the ball, but of course he does catch the Roman number 7 first. 5 minutes of first half. Stoppage time is added on. And of course, it has added with those 3 stoppages as much as anything else. That is, of course, why the stoppage time is such a large amount, as Roma have got to throw in well. The camera pans to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He looks a very unhappy man, doesn't he? The Norwegian, as his side are trailing at Old Trafford. His cards go up to Smalling as Roma just looking to just keep possession and just manage the remainder of this first half, which is, of course, in their favour. Is Amadou Diawara, who spent the entirety of his career in Italy, the Guinean midfielder. Here's Villar. Now to Chris Smalling. To Brian Cristante, is a central midfielder by trade, but is a converted centre-back under Fonseca. Wan-Bissaka's header away is only straight to Henrik Mkhitaryan. Now Dzeko nearly found Villar, but it's cut out well by Fred. United now come forward with Fernandes with the ball at his feet. Will now play it left to Pogba eventually. Did just halt it, did Fernandes, and then did release it when he thought it was the right time to do so. Gives it to Fred. He's away from Villar. Does well, does Fred. Now is Rashford on the edge of the box. Has been forced to just go back a few yards and give it to Fernandes. Rashford will receive it once more. Here's Scott McTominay. We're 100 seconds into additional time. 3 more minutes of it to be played. Can United get an equaliser? Fernandes looks down the line for sure, but he can't pick him out. And it's just ran out of play by Brian Cristante. Well, the bookies' favourites, remember, for the Europa League aren't having it all their own way. Remember, the final is a month away in the Polish city of Gdansk. And many expect Man United to be there. Whoever their opponents will be, and maybe Arsenal or Villarreal. Of course, there is that prospect of a second English final in 3 years. And as it stands, both sides won't even be getting there at this rate. But of course, there is still a second leg to take place. As the ball bounces off Edin Dzeko, it's going to stay in play. As it just stopped there, as Lindelof was trying to just let that go out of play. Dzeko chased that all the way, to be fair to him, the Bosnian striker, who's at the age of now 35. Played in the Bundesliga, the Premier League, and now Serie A. Here's Pogba, Cavani, Fred. Pings it out on his left foot to Rashford. He crosses in, but it's taken by Morante. He puts a lot of whip on it, did Rashford there, and it was pretty straightforward for the Roma goalkeeper to deal with. And the Arsenal game is half-time. It's been a dreadful first half at the Estadio El Madrigal for Arsenal. They're 2-0 down, remember. Manu Trigueros and Raul Albiol with the 2 goals, as Unai Emery is getting one over on the side that sacked him, remember, in November 2019. Luke Shaw down the line to Edinson Cavani, who's come a long way to get that pass from Luke Shaw. Fred now to Victor Lindelof. Ball is a lazy one and is cut out by Mkhitaryan. He was quick off his feet to read the game there. Perez to Ibanez, who plays a shocking ball into the path of Cavani, who's in. Morante makes the save. Cavani with a second bite of the cherry. Sees his shot blocked by Chris Smalling, but what on earth was Ibanez thinking there? He played it straight to Cavani. If there was one player you'd want that ball to fall to, it was the Uruguayan. But Morante did well to save. Rashford now with it on the corner of the right-hand side of the Roma box. And it bounced off a Roma player and gone for a corner. Well, here's this chance for United. Cavani was one-on-one with Morante. He just dived down low to keep him out. Cavani didn't do what Fernandes did and decided against the chip, tried to put it beyond him low. Morante with a good save. Then he had another go, and Smalling blocked it, but had to let off for Roma. Shaw with the corner in there, getting up as McTominay, but he can head it over the bar. He came flying in there. He was fully committed, along with Smalling. It was Ibanez going in there as well. Smalling went forward to jump forward. Ibanez was to the side of Scott McTominay, and both really felt that there as they've both gone down. Smalling worse off than Ibanez it looked, but Smalling is up off his feet and Ibanez is down. But that's the halftime whistle, and Roma, with only their 2 shots on target in this game, are 2-1 up against Manchester United. It started so well for United, with Bruno Fernandes scoring after 9 minutes from a delicious chip over Pau Lopez's goal. Then Roma equalised after Paul Pogba handled from a Rick Karsdorp cross. Pellegrini did the necessary from the spot to level it 5 minutes after they went behind. And then Edin Dzeko scored 11 minutes before the end of the first half to put the Italian side 2-1 up. It is half-time at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 1, Roma 2.
Thank you very much there, Matt Iles, for excellent first half commentary. Manchester United have it all to do despite going into the lead against Roma this evening. They're trailing now by 2-1. Bruno Fernandes up on the scoring on 9 minutes, but Pellegrini, and then a goal from Dzeko, the former Man City man, turned this game on its head. In the other game, as Matt said, half-time, Villarreal 2, Arsenal 0 is the score. So as it stands, it'll be Villarreal versus Roma in the Europa League in the final, as it stands. But we've got a second leg to go next week, so all that could change. In the other matches that have been played today, we've got a few results for in Scottish League 1 action. We finished East 5-1, Peterhead 3, Forfar Athletic 2, Clyde 1, Montrose 0, Cove Rangers 2, Partick Thistle 5, Falkirk 0. In League 2 in Scotland, it finished Brechin City 0, Annan Athletic 3, Elgin City 3, Stirling Albion 1, Queen's Park 2, Edinburgh City 0, St Elsmere 0, Albion Rovers 1. And in La Liga tonight, Barcelona were beaten in La Liga tonight at the Camp Nou thanks to a 2-1 defeat by Granada. Messi up on the scoring for Barcelona before Macias and Molina turned the game on its head in the second half, with the winning goal coming 11 minutes from time. In the Australian A-League, Melbourne City going to lead by 3-1 against Newcastle Jets. While in the Portuguese Premier Liga, Maritimo are drawing currently 0-0 with Sporting Braga. So looking ahead to the second half in our featured match tonight, and we'll fetch back in our commentator Matt Iles. And Matt, looking at that first half, Manchester United took the lead on 9 minutes through Bruno Fernandes, but since then have, in my opinion, not really created that much of goal scoring opportunities. And for me, despite having made 3 changes already, Roma, I think for me they deserve the lead of the break. Would you seem to concur with that? My thoughts there, Matt?
Well, I think you can look at it from various different points of view. I think they, to be fair, defended very, very well, even though I do think United, since the goal, have been very, very poor. They've struck when they've had to. Roma, they got the penalty, which I believe was the right decision. I think some people might concur and, disagree with what I'm thinking. But, they got that good fortune with that handball. Obviously, Pellegrini stuck the penalty away really well. It was well taken by the Roma captain. Dzeko then obviously scored that goal in which he sort of kicked it against his knee and then went in to give them a 2-1 lead. So it has been a bit of a smash and grab in the attacking respect. But defensively, I think they have done well. Yes, United have been poor. They, nearly went into the break Um, 2-2, didn't know that Cavani chance, but it took a good save from Morante. And even though they've made 3 first half changes, which haven't affected Roma, to be fair, it's almost just sort of, in a way, to some degree, buoyed them a little bit. But yeah, I think they probably do, on the whole, maybe deserve to be 2-1 up. And I was expecting a little bit more tonight from United, but I just think that they've just maybe been a little bit complacent. And, the 2 goals they conceded were them, as I sort of alluded to, after Pellegrini equalised. It's led to them digging their own grave and being architects of their own downfall, Russ.
Yes, and I heard you mention on commentary that in the game against Leeds, they didn't really create that much against Leeds Manchester United, and it seemed to be more of the same tonight. What do you think Manchester United are lacking in the final third? Do you think they're lacking a goal scorer, or do you feel they need to put Rashford through the middle and maybe fetch someone like Dan James to play him out wide? Do you feel they're missing someone like Rashford through the middle?
I don't think they're missing a goal scorer. I think you look at the goals in the team, I think it speaks for itself. Rashford's hit 20, Cavani's got 10, Fernandes has now got 25. I think, for me, Rashford is somebody who we saw in his first couple of years at United, the sort of lasting days of Louis van Gaal. And, you saw under Jose Mourinho that, he was a player who started down the middle and he looked really sort of bright for United, obviously, when Ibrahimovic was unavailable. And obviously, ever since that, he's had a little bit more added responsibility on him. He kind of drifts in and out of games, doesn't he, Marcus Rashford, when he is on that wing? And I think, obviously, with Cavani down the middle, who is a better finisher than him, I think that does deplete Rashford. So I don't think they are missing anything as such. And I don't think, maybe putting Rashford down the middle is the whole answer. I just think that, the main thing springing from tonight and certainly Sunday is United got to just be so much quicker.
Yes, you mentioned they need to be so much quicker. In that sense, then, would you fetch someone like Dan James who can get to teams and defend really, really well and attack teams and push them on the back foot? And same with Mason Greenwood, who likes to get the ball and push players back and pull them on the back foot. Would you think someone fetching like both of those on could change something for Manchester United today, or do you feel you should stick with what they've got out there and leave it till about the 63? What I'm trying to say, Matt, is would you make say, a couple of changes at half time with James and Greenwood coming on, or would you leave it to be longer before making any changes? And if so, who would you look to fetch on first?
Well, I think you've got to, for me, look at the middle of the park. I think Fred, even though United have been fairly decent this season, I still don't really believe he's a top-class midfielder. And I think it does leave them a little bit, at times, exposed. I just don't really believe he's a good United player. I think maybe if I was Solskjaer, I'd maybe put Pogba back in the middle. He's not done anything wrong on that left-hand side, but I just think of maybe been a bit more attacking and certainly bring Greenwood on whenever as early as possible. And I think I'd make that change in that regard as much as anything else. I mean, you look at the rest of the subs, Van der Beek has not quite had the career so far at United that many were expecting him to. Hopefully he can change that tonight, make some effort to change that, even though he's not had a lot of football. As well, you look at Dan James, he's somebody who's got a lot of pace, could really hurt that back three of Roma, because United have not really done that enough for me. And then also as well, you can maybe consider Ahmad coming on, fresher legs, young talent. Again, somebody who will look to try and stretch the space. So I think they're the obvious candidates. You've got Mata there as well, who's somebody who doesn't get a mention, but of course doesn't get many minutes these days, does he? But I think the main change I would make very early on, I wouldn't be surprised if he made it at half time, was to bring Greenwood on. And if he was to come on, I'd take Fred off and then just slip Pogba back into the centre of the park alongside Scott McTominay.
Yes, you mentioned they take Fred off and move Pogba back. But say if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to keep Fred on and you're going to fetch someone off for Mason Greenwood, say if he wants to keep Fred on and move to more of a 4-3-3 formation in the second half. And would you still take Fred off and have Fernandez, Pogba in midfield with McTominay, or would you take someone else off and fetch Greenwood on to go and put Greenwood up either side of
Yeah.
Cavani with Rashford? Would you still take Fred off, or would you fetch someone else off instead, Matt?
Well, I think one thing that's very interesting is that the formation they're almost playing is essentially a 4-2-3-1, isn't it? I mean, Fred and McTominay are very, very deep. Fernandez is playing high up the pitch, and that is where you've got to keep him, haven't you? You don't play Fernandez sort of in a deeper midfield role because he doesn't really do a lot of the running, does he? He's a player who, is so creative, so forward thinking, such a good attacking player who plays the ball forward. He won't do the running like sort of Paul Pogba were. And I think obviously Solskjaer sees Pogba as that left-sided winger, as we saw. I remember the round of 16 second leg against AC Milan at the San Siro, in which Pogba came on the left-hand side and had an excellent game. He started the game really well tonight, but then just sort of, faded out. I think if anyone for United is going to do anything, it does look like it's going to be him. So I think he won't change the formation, but I think one person I'd be amazed that would finish a game is Cavani. You don't tend to see him finish games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think he'll come off at some point. Rashford, he likes to keep on. So, yeah, it's a very interesting point, but I don't think he's going to change the system to drop Fernandez deeper. I think he's going to keep him up there and just keep the two, McTominay and Fred. But as I sort of alluded to, maybe Fred goes off, he'll just drop Pogba and then just put Greenwood on there. So I don't think he'll change it to a 4-3-3. I think he'll keep it to a 4-2-3-1, Russ.
Yes, and just want to give a shout out to a friend of mine who I watch on Twitch a few times. Floyd is watching, he's been in touch. Hope you're doing okay, mate. He's off to watch the second half, he says, and he's put our stream on his Twitch channel as well, shared it on there as well. So hopefully we'll get a few more people in and a few more people subscribing. If you want to follow us on Twitch, hit that follow button and you can get notified every time we go live with commentaries. I just want to point out this weekend from Friday, tomorrow at 3 p.m. till Monday, 11:59 p.m. The team of Football Commentary Live will not be posting any commentaries on the Twitch or Twitter feed as we stand with English football in their stance against racism and online abuse to players, and that we will be standing with them. We'll be putting the coverage out on YouTube only. So if you want to follow the games next week, head over to youtube.com and search for Russ Vernon, and you'll be able to listen to the commentaries over there over the weekend. So make sure you tune in to that. Hopefully, we can get more people subscribing to there. You can also find some of our commentaries over on Mike Ornamen's YouTube channel as well, where he's covering the game tonight between Villarreal and Arsenal. Arsenal currently 2-0 down in that one. And I just want to ask your opinion on this social media blackout. Me and Mike
Yeah.
touched upon it the other day. We think he may not, as such, put an end to it. We think there'll probably still some people out there after this. What would do you feel the same as me, man? There'll be some people doing this after this. I read last week in my local paper, Paul Warne said one of his players, not racially, but was abused on a social media platform, went and then followed him, requested to follow the person on Instagram, who then declined. He not said which player he was, and I'm not sure which player he was either. But do you feel having the social media blackout from Friday to from 3 o'clock tomorrow to Monday to 11:59 will be the sort of thing to stamp it out, or do you feel there's need to be a bit more within the social media platforms to help sort it out as well, Matt?
It's actually quite a sad thing that football clubs and organisations have had to resort to almost a complete blackout for essentially a whole part of a weekend just to try and actually stop this disgusting thing that is taking place online. unfortunately, still in this society. And, you know, my view on it is that, you know, you hope change will happen, but unfortunately, you know, some people will still feel the need to make comments based on someone's skin, and it is just absolutely wrong. You know, it's a human element involved. It always is with things like that. You know, it's a sense of empathy, isn't it? You've got to relate. You know, you wouldn't want to be called, you know, that type of name. So why would you go around and do it to someone else? It is a small minority of people, you know, bringing these campaigns to come together, and I stand by it. I think it's the right thing for this channel to do, and I think certainly everybody within the sort of, I don't want to say company, but within the team agrees with it. And it's the same at football clubs on Twitter and social media. They've got to make a stand. They've got to do something to really eradicate. And if this is the best way and they feel needs be, then so be it. And hopefully it brings a change. But of course, in these instances, it won't go through to everybody, and it will still, unfortunately, cut through. But it shouldn't be the case.
I completely agree with you there, man. The players are now on the way back out for the second half. Roma already out there. The Manchester United are closely following them, along with the officials as well. See all the good Solskjaer and some of his coach staff walking down there. Man United players also on the pitch as well. The officials, just the linesmen just checking the goals. We're all set then for the second half. So I'll hand you back and let you enjoy the second half in the company of Matt Iles.
Thank you, Ross. Well, it was a first half that really didn't deliver for Manchester United. It started so well, didn't it, with Bruno Fernandes's goal inside 9 minutes, but then Roma really decided to show what they were made of. Of course, they were offended, their supporters, some of them, by comments that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made. And I think, in truth, it was quite misinterpreted. He did say post-match after their second leg against Granada that he didn't know a lot about Roma and hadn't seen a lot of them, and their fans were printing posters all around the training ground of theirs saying that we will make sure he remembers us. I think he's certainly remembering the Giallo Rossi now, as the second half is 42 seconds old, as Karsdorp is fouled inside his own. Now, I'll just go through the two sides with you very, very quickly. United line up, no changes made at the break, so it's De Gea in goal. Back four, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof and Shaw. McTominay and Fred are the two on midfielders, with the three of Rashford, the goal scorer of the opening goal, Fernandes, and Paul Pogba. And Edinson Cavani is up front for United. The subs: Grant, Henderson, Bailly, Twanzebe, Williams, Tellez, Van der Beek, Mata, Ahmad, Matic and Mason Greenwood. Roma, well, they made three changes in that first half. So they have Antonio Morante in goal. He came on in place of Paul Lopez. The back three of Ibanez, Smalling and Cristante. Then it's the four attackers of Rick Karsdorp at right wing back, Amadou Diawara, Gonzalo Villar, who's in place of Jordan Veretout, who of course came off inside the first 5 minutes and Bruno Perez, who came on in place of Leonardo Spinazzola at left wing back. Then they have two attacking midfielders of Henrik Mkhitaryan and Lorenzo Pellegrini, and Edin Dzeko is up front. The subs from Zato, Santon, Kumbula, Carlos Perez, Borja Mayoral, Ricardo Chiervo and Ebrima Darbo is the complement of subs for Rome. Of course, they have two subs left to make. Manchester United have five. Here is Edin Dzeko now on the ball for Roma. Karsdorp down the line to Mkhitaryan. That's a lovely ball to the Armenian. And the cross goes all the way through to Pellegrini. He then gives it to Diawara. It looked like for a moment Pellegrini was going to potentially play it to Dzeko, but Pellegrini decided to turn back away from the goal he was shooting toward and knock it back to a fellow player, as a foul has been made by Villar on Fred. Advantage continues. Pogba to Cavani. Now Fernandes. If United play their cards right, they've got a chance on goal. Cavani, 2-2. Play through by Fernandes into the Uruguayan Cavani, who scores 3 minutes into this second half. And United draw level. It's their turn to equalise. Man United 2, Roma 2. And just like that, with the very first opportunity of this second half, United are level. Well, it's a big call whether Cavani's on or offside. It looks like, I think he's actually onside. He just gives it to Fernandes. Smalling gets drawn in to go into the middle. It comes to Cavani, who just goes onto his right foot and he absolutely flashes it into the top corner beyond Antonio Morante, who has got absolutely no chance of getting anywhere near it. He just sees it go past him. It's a brilliant finish by a master marksman in Edinson Cavani, and it's 2-2. The Uruguayan on the score sheet. United with the perfect tonic to get back in this game and to really set up now an exciting remainder of this game. And it was Fernandes who got the goal from Cavani's pass. Fernandes turned provider for Cavani, and it is a booking for a Roma player as Pogba's down at Gonzalo Villar, who is the first player to be booked after a late challenge on Paul Pogba. We'll see it now. What he gets the ball first, but it's a follow through that catches Paul Pogba. There is no denying that he wins the ball. It's very obvious to see, but then he does brush Pogba, and you do have to say that a yellow card is a little bit harsh there. He does get a lot of the ball, but yes, he does catch his knee. It is rather high, but of course, as we are starting to see more and more referees are more obliged to give bookings. 10 years ago, we say that's a harsh booking, but I think nowadays we have to say that that is a right call to make in by the laws, such as the way the game is going. So United will have a free kick. And of course, United, who possess Mason Greenwood on their subs bench, won't be needing to use him now. Of course, I think as the second half was sort of getting on, they were probably going to use Greenwood at the earliest possible opportunity. But they, might hold that back even more now they've drawn level, courtesy of that Edinson Cavani equaliser. Pogba's been put through, but he went competing with it with Morante, who's gone down. I think an arm might have gone in Morante's face from Pogba, who's been booked as a result. He can't believe it, as he felt that he was doing the right thing and going for the ball. Well, it was beyond him there. Does he really catch Morante there to warrant the booking? I'm not so sure there, I'd admit. And Pogba has got himself in the book, as the referee, Carlos Del Cerro Grande, has issued 2 yellow cards in the space of just a few minutes, as Fred gets in front of the pass to Pellegrini, but it's bounced off him and out for a throw-in. Well, when he gets a chance, he usually takes it. He was given a gilt-edged one at the end of the first half, which he blew, courtesy of Morante's save. He was making sure with the other chance he got, he wasn't going to miss, and he absolutely blasted it beyond the goalkeeper, who, even if he was that tall and had big outstretched arms to try and keep Cavani's shot out, I don't even think he would have saved that, even if he possessed those sort of superhuman attributes to keep that out. It would have been impossible near enough to keep that out. And the moment it left the Uruguayan's foot, it was going in. That's a good challenge by Mkhitaryan on Marcus Rashford, a former teammate of his, remember, to concede a throw-in for Manchester United. 7 minutes of this second half gone. The game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live. It's Manchester United 2, Roma 2. United in this competition have been very, very good at keeping clean sheets. They didn't concede in both their games to Spanish opposition in Granada and Real Sociedad. They've only conceded 1 goal in this Europa League campaign so far, and that was that game at home to AC Milan, which Simon Kjaer scored late on. Luke Shaw gets the better of Karsdorp, lays off to Fernandes, who misses it, but it rolls on through to Cavani, who's blazed it over the bar. Luke Shaw did so well to get beyond Rick Karsdorp. He played it to Fernandes, who didn't even attempt it, to be fair. He knew it was beyond him. It came to Cavani, he turned on his left foot, but he's almost gone for a rugby-type conversion and absolutely sliced it over the bar, and you cannot but feel that's a good chance United have wasted. Well, he's come alive, isn't he, Edinson Cavani? you could either say very early, late on in the first half, he had two good chances. He's had two good chances in the second half, and he's taken one of them. But that one there, you feel he should have done better, and I think he's just rushed it. He could have taken a touch and then picked his spot that way, but he's tried to go just that one position, and he's ultimately fallen flat. Mkhitaryan does eventually manage to sneak the ball on through to Karsdorp, but it looked like anyway. Luke Shaw goes down. Referee says Karsdorp won the ball fairly. United still have it in the middle with Fred, who goes to the right and finds Wan-Bissaka. Now Fernandes gets away from Diawara, gets it back from Rashford, or he thought he did anyway. And then Ibanez goes down under a challenge from Fernandes, who can have no complaints. And Roma have got a free kick just in and around their 18-yard defensive area as Diawara turns away from Fernandes. It was taken short by Villar as they've given it away. Now Rashford to Pogba. There's a bit more of a urgency about Manchester United. Fernandes on a lovely outside of the football, looking for Rashford, and a vital header by Roger Ibanez to head that behind for a corner. Had he not been there, the Roma number 3, you think Rashford's got a header at goal. It's a really good ball in. Rashford attacks it, but Ibanez, such a difficult one to deal with when you've got a man right behind you. You just got to get something on it, get it away from him, and he did exactly that. It is a Manchester United corner. Luke Shaw's going to take their first one of this second half. Shaw takes, poor delivery. Pellegrini heads it away. Mkhitaryan's chasing. Wan-Bissaka just waits for it to drop kindly for him before he volleys it forward. And then the ball forward by by Pellegrini is not able to be kept in play. And it goes for a Manchester United throw. In 10 minutes of the second half gone. Man United 2, Roma 2. It is still Villarreal 2, Arsenal 0 at the Estadio El Madrigal. One goal does change things in that game. A third for Villarreal. The tie's pretty much over. A goal for Arsenal does give them a real chance of getting something at the Emirates. It's a good run though by Chris Smalling. Now to Pellegrini. Now Gonzalo Villar. Mkhitaryan looks to find Dzeko, but his pass is intercepted. Cavani goes down under a challenge by Chris Smalling. Pogba runs it out for a throw-in, and Roma take it quickly with Karsdorp. Cristante now to Roger Ibanez. Here is Bruno Perez to Diawara. Runs straight into Scott McTominay with that heavy touch. Cavani to Fernandes, who goes down. Referee says no. Fred out to the left. Here's Pogba. Through to McTominay. Must score. Squares it to Cavani. And then Ibanez is able to just get a touch to it. Here's Fernandes. He crosses in. McTominay's attacking again. And then Chris Smalling gets up above McTominay, who fouls him. But McTominay just did not get a hold of that, did he? It was played through to him nicely by Pogba, who fooled everyone and thinking he wasn't going to shoot. It was played onside from Ibanez, who just turned into the ball and just got it away. It was going away from goal for McTominay. I think, to be fair to him, he's tried to square it to Cavani. And then, of course, it came to Fernandes. He crossed it into McTominay, and then Smalling just out-jumped McTominay, who, of course, put an arm in Smalling's back, and it resulted in a Roma free kick. But a lot better from United in this early part of the second half. And, of course, they started the first half lightning fast, didn't they? But ultimately, the end of that first half, Roma were the better of the two in terms of defending. And United's attack was just slow. It was passive, very much like what it was on Sunday. And the second half has very much belonged to the hosts. Manchester United, as Fred has conceded a throw. Of course, a man that knows Roma's manager very, very well. He played under him at Shakhtar before he was sold for over £50 million to Manchester United in the summer of 2018. Perez will take this throw. Gives it to Rashford. Now Fred. Pogba. To try and go on the outside of his foot to Rashford, but it's defended well by Ibanez, who's had to do a lot of defensive work in the opening 30 minutes of the second half. Roma come forward with Karsdorp. Good low cross in. McTominay with the miss kick. Luckily, it's well away from goal, and he concedes a corner for Manchester United. Yeah, Karsdorp just flashes that ball in. Always a difficult one to deal with, especially when you're running in on it. And of course, McTominay came off the wrong side of his leg, didn't it? It almost went the other side, bounced off his thigh, and went off course and out for a corner. Will be Pellegrini, who's going to take 6 Roma players in the United box. Pellegrini delivers. McTominay away. Gonzalo Villar will get there. Then knock it back to Perez. Here is Rick Karsdorp. Goes on the inside of Rashford. Gets well away from him. Through to Pellegrini, who's in. What a chance this is. He squares it to Dzeko, who's given it now to Chris Smalling, who's blasted it over the bar. But Lorenzo Pellegrini, you really think should have been hitting that there. It was a lovely ball by Karsdorp. Just found the gap from Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof. Instead of shooting, Pellegrini gave it to Dzeko. Dzeko didn't even call for it, I don't think. It was not the right option. It went away from him. He then got in front of Maguire, then laid it off to Smalling, who was in that position in the Man United box, somewhere where he is not very often seen, it has to be said. And then Roma failed to really force De Gea into a save. Wan-Bissaka's throw to Fernandes. McTominay. United have it now in Roma's half, but they are not really in a threatening position as we've played the first quarter of this second half. Man United 2, Roma 2. Pogba tries to give it to Fernandes, and then it's defended well by Roma. Now, played by Pellegrini to Mkhitaryan. That's a good challenge by McTominay. Mkhitaryan with his arms out to say, where's the foul, ref? But it's a good challenge by McTominay. And Arsenal's night is going from bad to worse. Dani Ceballos has been sent off for a second bookable offence. So Mikel Arteta really is dealing with a horrible evening in Spain as Carlos Delcedo Grande issues a yellow card for Chris Smalling, who committed a foul on Bruno Fernandes, and it was a pretty easy decision for the referee to issue a yellow card for Chris Smalling, the former Manchester United defender, remember. Here is Victor Lindelof. Rashford, good challenge by Ibanez. Now it's Perez. Dzeko's in an offside position, so he's got to keep the ball at his feet and wait for Dzeko to get back into an onside position. It has gone on through to Mkhitaryan, who gets the low cross in. It's gone off Lindelof for a corner. But in the last few minutes or so, you have just seen Aaron Wan-Bissaka down that United right get found out a little bit and probably allow too much space for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Wan-Bissaka's liking for Roma to attack in as they've got this corner down the Man United right back's side. Pellegrini will take this. As Dzeko and Ibanez are right in front of De Gea's eye line, but it is headed away well by the United defence as Karsdorp goes into Fred. So see Fred just kick that out for a throw. And of course, remember, Roma made 3 subs in the first half. The first, of course, was Jordan Veretout going off inside 5 minutes in place of Gonzalo Villar. Then the goalie, Paul Lopez, was substituted as Mirante came on. Then we saw Spinazzola get replaced for Bruno Perez. And in the midst of me telling about the substitutions that were forced upon Paulo Fonseca, there was a debatable decision with Mkhitaryan and Shaw in terms of which way it was going to go. A Roma corner, a United goal kick. It was a United goal kick down that left-hand side. Lovely ball through by Popper to Cavani as he's been set away. Ibanez has gone out to the left. Now Luke Shaw takes a hold of the ball. Pogba's the obvious choice in the middle to him. Now Fernandes gets it from Pogba. Out to the right with Wan-Bissaka. Chance to shoot. Save. Cavani puts it away again. It's 3-2 to Manchester United. Mirante parried it to the worst possible person he could have done that to. And Edison Cavani puts it away. And Manchester United have now gone 3-2 up. They lead for the second time tonight. Questions were asked of them at the end of the first half, whether or not they could get back in this game on a big European night. But they've shown that they can deal with the pressure. And it's really told. United 3, Roma 2. Fernandes just plays that ball to Wan-Bissaka onside because of Smalling being the last defender. Mirante's got to do better. He just turns into Cavani. Wan-Bissaka just doesn't really put a lot on it. I think it might actually take a nick off a Roma player. But Mirante, nonetheless, just still powers it to Cavani. The pace has taken off it. He's got to do better. An experienced keeper like him. And then Cavani with the simplest of finishes into the back of the net. 3-2 now to United. 2 for him. He scored against Granada. And he also scored against Granada in the second leg at home. He did it home and away in the quarter-final. Now he's done it in the first leg at home with a brace. The Uruguayan, who's been hungry for goals tonight. And he's also been getting a lot of chances with some success and some without success. But he has just put United 3-2 up here as he was in the right place at the right time. Here come Roma there with Perez. Good delivery. Maguire with a vital header away. Now Fernandes to Fred. Out to Cavani on a hat-trick, remember. Rashford's to his right, goes to Fred. Poor ball by Cavani as Roma now bring it forward with Gonzalo Villar. Here's Mkhitaryan. Now the Armenians bringing it infield from that left-hand side. He crosses in. Dzeko with the flick on. And it headed towards De Gea's path. But the United goalkeeper dives on it and keeps it out. It's a good ball in. Good flick header by Dzeko. Unfortunately for him, it's just straight at David De Gea, and he's just able to just get a hold on the ball and do what he needed to do. Lindelof to Harry Maguire. 21 minutes of the second half played. Man United 3, Roma 2. Remember, they at the end of the first half, United were 2-1 down, but they've come out in this second half and have turned it around. Cavani with both the second half goals. He scored the equaliser in the 49th minute as he absolutely lashed it in from Bruno Fernandes' pass. Hit it first time and curled it into the top corner of Mirante's goal, which he could do nothing about. But then the third goal, Cavani's second, Mirante could have done a lot better as he parried it straight to him under his nose as Cavani was just able to just pass it into the back of the net. Here's Bruno Fernandes. Looks to put the ball in. It was a low one and a poor one, and Smalling clears it away. Fernandes fouls Diawara, and Roma have got a free kick. Smalling's looking to try and take that quickly, or he was at first anyway, but he's left it for Cristante to take. Diawara to Ibanez. Now Perez to Ibanez once more. Forward it goes. Lindelof will turn rather than give it back to David De Gea. Forward Edin Dzeko there. I thought he was going to go to David De Gea, but the Swede, who's not afraid to have the ball at his feet, did well to bring it out there. But McTominay now in the middle of the pitch. Now picks out Luke Shaw. Pogba. Shaw gets it back. Nice play between those two down the left-hand side. Shaw goes for goal himself. Mirante with a good save. He thought about playing it along the floor, did Luke Shaw. There was no doubt about it. But then, of course, when he did see that there was no option on, he went for a rasping drive, and it stung the gloves of Mirante. He thinks he's going to play it to Cavani, and then he just gets that little thing in his head, I'm just going to have a go at goal. But Mirante was underneath that. He had his angles covered. He was well positioned and well placed to stop that. Perez goes back to Ibanez. No second half changes for United, and Roma, of course, who still have 2 subs to make on top of the 3 that they had to make in the first half, are showing no signs of making anything from the bench, as they could bring on one of the Europa League top goal scorers in Borja Mayoral. That's a superb ball by Luke Shaw to Rashford, who's got time to look up, pick out Cavani, who got to the near post, made that run, but just couldn't direct it at goal, and player stopped as Cavani just couldn't stop himself going into the advertising hoardings. The referee stopped play here as Carlos del Cerro Grande. I think he's given a Manchester United penalty here. Well, let's just see this again. Rashford with the low cross. There is a clip on the back of Cavani's foot by Chris Smalling. He went to compete for it from Rashford's low cross. Now, just watch this here. Yeah, he does catch him there. Cavani does attack it. It is a bit soft, but there is contact, and you do have to say that that is a penalty. And it's a very similar position to where Paul Pogba gave a penalty away in the first half for Manchester United. And now Bruno Fernandes, who scored a 90th minute penalty away at Granada, now has the chance to make the lead even more handsome and put them 2 goals up. Check is complete. Penalty stands. And Mirante has to try and keep this out to keep it at 3-2. Cavani's off the pitch for now, as he has to watch right by the side of Mirante's goal. Bruno Fernandes take this spot kick. He's already got 1 tonight. Can he add another one? It is Bruno Fernandes against Antonio Mirante. Vital moment in this first leg. It is Fernandes. It's the hop. It's the skip. No, it's not, because he just takes it and absolutely fires it past Mirante. Man United are 4-2 up. 2 goals up now. And that first leg, it feels like it's done and dusted. And they're going to take a 2-goal lead with them to the Stadio Olimpico at least. And it could even maybe be more if United do want to get some more tonight at Old Trafford. United 4, Roma 2. Good penalty by Fernandes. He usually does the hop and the skip, but he decides to just go with a more straightforward technique. No messing about. He gives Mirante the eyes. He dies even before Fernandes has even made the connection. And there, of course, he just strikes it home. Well, his penalty record is phenomenal, as Bruno Fernandes, as everybody knows. And with 18 minutes to go, United now 4-2 up. And Bruno Fernandes has got 5 in 7 Europa League matches for Manchester United in this season's competition. He does love a Thursday night. And Arsenal have scored in Spain. Nicola Pepe scoring from the penalty spot. 10 men of Arsenal, remember, have gotten away goal in Spain. They will definitely settle for this come 90 minutes. But of course, with Villarreal having 11 and Arsenal having 10 and being behind, they just don't want to go and concede another one, because it will make their job a lot harder in North London in a week's time. Whereas United will go to the away leg as it stands in a nice position. But we have seen before in European competitions down the years that sides have come back from a 2-goal deficit. And United will be hoping that it's not going to be them on the receiving end, and that they follow the trend of being a lot of those sides who are able to hold on. McTominay to Lindelof. Maguire to Paul Pogba. Shaw, Fred, Fernandes, Pogba. United are sprinkling a bit of style into proceedings here. Wan-Bissaka, good standing challenge by Ibanez. Cavani to McTominay. Pogba, Fernandes through to Cavani. Is this the hat trick? No, he's denied by a brilliant block by Ibanez. Karsdorp can't get it away as Shaw is hunting him down. He does play it to Villar, and then Cristante just plays it forward. Here's Lindelof. Now Fernandes, Wan-Bissaka. United want a fifth. Here's Pogba. McTominay with the low cross. Off Perez. And then Ibanez concedes a corner. Well, that looked like it was going to be the moment for Edinson Cavani. And that man Ibanez has been, if anybody can be a bit of credit in the Roma defence, he's been the one who's made the most important blocks, probably the most out of any of those defenders. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think he has been the one who's been the heavily involved one in terms of blocks and the tackles, the former Atalanta man. And of course, the Brazilian has not got a clean sheet because he sided 4-2 down. Shaw takes it to Fernandes. He'll just clip it in. Not a bad delivery. Pogba meets it. And they have now got 5. Paul Pogba does it again against the Italian opposition. And Manchester United really are showing their class here in this second half. Pogba adds a 5th. And it's another miserable trip to this part of the world for the Giallorossi. Manchester United 5, Roma 2, and it's Paul Pogba with a towering leap that makes the lead even more handsome. Great ball in by Fernandes. Absolutely stunning delivery. The perfect weight on it, perfect height for Paul Pogba to attack beyond Antonio Morante and into the back of the net. And Roma really are just sinking like a stone, aren't they? It really is becoming a desperate attempt for them now. And it's 5-2, and United really are in the groove. Well, it's just like that Madonna song, isn't it? In the groove. They really are. Pogba adding to the score sheet, the third different scorer tonight. And with 15 minutes to go, United now 5-2 up in this semi-final. First leg, and they've even hit 3 goals in 12 minutes. Of course, it was 2-2 with 60 minutes on the clock. 3 minutes later, Cavani made it 3-2. Then Fernandes scored a penalty in the 72nd minute. And then ever since then, Roma have just fallen to pieces. Here is Mkhitaryan, the Armenian. Remember on their last visit to England, they were beaten by this scoreline by Liverpool 3 years ago in the Champions League semi-finals. And they're feeling the same effects of that on this occasion. Remember, Mike Heineman's bringing you coverage of Arsenal against Villarreal. If you want to catch the last 10 plus minutes of that from Spain, there's Arsenal 2-1 down. Remember, a man down as well. In by Pellegrini, away by Maguire, who out-jumped Dzeko. Pogba 2, Luke Shaw, Fred. Now to Fernandes. Here come United once more. Fernandes with the ball in. Cavani with the acrobatic effort. But he just couldn't get the right contact on it or the connection for that fact. And it's hit down into the ground and easily gathered by Antonio Morante. But Cavani was just offside there. As Karsdorp just slightly stepped up, but had that ball gone in, the flag would have, well, VAR definitely would have intervened and given that. 13 to go. United 5-2 up. They were 2-1 down at halftime, remember, but a second half goal blitz has turned the game in their favour as the Italian side, Roma, remember, resting on this competition to get them into the Champions League. As it stands, have got to score at least 3 and not allow United to score in Italy for them to progress to the Europa League final in Gdansk on May 25th. And Paul Pogba, who scored against AC Milan in the round of 16 second leg, which was the match winner that night in the middle of March, has scored tonight against another Italian side to put them 5-2 up and have a much more convincing victory than the one in Italy just over a month ago. Victor Lindelof with the ball at his feet. I think United might just maybe treat this now as a training exercise, and Solskjaer might just keep some players fresh for Liverpool on Sunday in what is a big, big clash. It is always at any time in the season, United-Liverpool, a huge clash in the Premier League. Of course, that's on Sunday. Here's Cavani. Fernandes. Now Luke Shaw. Fernandes on the ball. It's a beautiful chip into Greenwood. Takes it on the chest. Still keeps it at his feet. He then gives it to Fred, who hits it with the low drive, but it's off target. Yeah, it looked like it was going to go to Fernandes, but then Fred obviously giving him the shout to say, leave it, I'm going to have a go. Fernandes does the necessary, and Fred hits it. He comes onto it really well, but it was just well off target from the Brazilian. Well, he had a disappointing first half, did Fred. The second half has been a lot better for him. He's not really had a lot to do on the defensive front, it has to be said. The Brazilian midfielder in his third season now at Old Trafford. And the score here as we enter the final 10.5 minutes, it's Manchester United 5, Roma 2, as Brian Cristante has come a long way from the back to bring it forward. Lovely ball out to the left, which Perez takes under control really well. Gone off the leg of Wan-Bissaka. The block has gone off in which Maguire heads away. Now Diawara to Mkhitaryan as the shot is a poor one as David De Gea sees it go out for a goal kick. Well, he tried his luck from range. Mkhitaryan, his current side, getting well beat by the side that he used to wear the colours for. If he is going to leave this place with a bit of a happy memory, then he hopes that it will be one with a goal to his name at the very least. As Nemanja Matic is ready to enter the field of play. Lindelof in the corner as Pellegrini puts him under scrutiny. And the clearance has gone off Pellegrini into Mkhitaryan's path, but Fernandes is there in the box to stop the pass running on through. And now Villarreal have had a red card in their game, so both down to 10. What a chance is this for Arsenal to get an equaliser. Etienne Capoue, former Tottenham man, sent off in that game for a second bookable offence. It still remains 2 on there. That looks a very interesting game. You can catch that with Mike Arneman, remember, if you want to watch the final sort of 5+ minutes of that. There are other games to be covered on Football Commentary Live. Nottingham Forest trip away at Sheffield Wednesday is being covered at Saturday lunchtime. Nicholas Jones is on the mic for that with Russ Vernon providing the analysis for that one. And then on Sunday afternoon, we bring you Newcastle against Arsenal. Jack Cunningham and Mike Arneman on the mic for that one as well. The Black Country Derby on Bank Holiday Monday will be Kieran Riley taking you through that one. And then Russ Vernon will be bringing you the double part of that as Burnley entertain Champions League chasing West Ham United, with Burnley looking to pretty much secure their safety in the Premier League. Well, mathematically should secure their safety in the Premier League. 8 to go here, sorry. Man United 5, Roma 2. Cavani 2, Fernandes 2, and a Pogba header have seen United dominate in the second half and show why they're a side on the way to the Champions League as it stands, and why Roma are some way off that in this Europa League semi-final first leg. So Fred's evening has come to an end, and the Nemanja Matic will be coming on. Well, they were frustrated away at Leeds on Sunday, down to a good defensive effort by Leeds, but Roma have pretty much played into United's hands in this second half, and United have had a lot of joy and a lot of freedom, more than what it was in the first half, in which they looked slow, they looked passive, as Solskjaer and Fred have a heart-to-heart, as Fred is obviously now off in place of Nemanja Matic. Free kick is delivered in. Pogba was the man who was getting searched out on that left-hand corner of the box. And Ibanez outjumps the French midfielder, as United have got a throw-in right by the No, it's a corner, sorry, right by that corner flag. As Pogba puts the ball on the spot for Bruno Fernandes to take. What Roma don't want to do is go and concede a sixth. It's a real hard ask as it is for the second leg, but if another one goes in, then that pretty much is goodbye. Fernandes will take this corner. McTominay climbs with Perez, but there's a little arm in the back on Bruno Perez, and it's a free kick to Roma inside their own half. Well, here's someone who is a target for set pieces and crosses is Scott McTominay. That's a few times he's done that tonight. Get up and try and win a header, which he's found it hard, but of course, something like that won't make too much of a difference for him. As Pellegrini goes back to Mirante. Ball forward by Ibanez is cut out by Matic. Pogba stretching with his long leg of his. Comes to Cavani. Fernandes goes for the curler. But it was a wayward one. And he's hit that into Rosette. Yeah, Pogba went for it. Diawara stepped in. It just bounced off his shin, I think it was, into the path of Cavani. So quick to think about where his pass is going to go, Cavani. Him and Fernandes have linked up really well tonight. He comes to the Portuguese midfielder. He goes for the curler. And he fires it over. Well, it does feel like that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to shake off that semi-final tag. Of course, it's that mental block, isn't it? That United have had 4 semi-finals under him, including one in the Europa League last year, in which they've fallen short and they just can't get to a final. He is still searching for a trophy as United bosses Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He pretty much won the lot as a player with this club, but as a manager, he's yet to really win anything in his sort of near 18 months he's had in charge. Sorry, 2.5 years, I should say, he's had in charge of Manchester United. His last trophy actually came as mould manager when they won the Norwegian Cup in 2013. And of course, this is United's 4th year without a trophy. However long that will be is anybody's guess, as it doesn't actually feel like it might be a 5th year. Cavani into Greenwood, sets him away. Is Greenwood going to have his say in the first leg? Oh, yes, he is. Mirante helped it on its way in, and he's come off the bench to score, and Manchester United have 6 in this first leg. And it is getting embarrassing for Roma now, as Paulo Fonseca looks on. They break quickly, and Mason Greenwood just rolls it onto his left foot into the back of the net via a helping hand from the keeper. It's Man United 6, Roma 2. Well, what a second half it's been. It's been a real Jekyll and Hyde performance, hasn't it, from United? The first half they were poor. Second half they've been right on it. Ibanez slides in, can't do enough. Mirante's really poor for me. He doesn't do enough to clear it away. I think he reacts a little bit too late. But Greenwood takes it on his right foot. It's gone off Ibanez, and then it's gone off the shin pad of Mirante into the net. United have got 6. Well, they hit 7 past them 14 years ago in the UEFA Champions League quarter-final match in front of a packed-out Old Trafford. There are 2 differences here. They've only hit 6. Roma have scored 2. And, of course, as we know, that there are no fans here. So that's actually 3 differences, I should say. But still, United have got 6, 5 second-half goals. And Mason Greenwood is a scorer in this first leg of this semi-final. And this second leg almost feels like it's damage limitation for the Giallorossi. And it's his first goal as well, Mason Greenwood, in this season's UEFA Europa League. Well, Karsdorp with a ball that was a hospital one, really, for Smalling. What a beautiful pass on the outside of Cavani's foot it was to Greenwood. Ibanez, to be fair, did so well to just try and close him down. He couldn't do any more, but Greenwood shot, took a nick off Greenwood, took a nick off him and off Mirante, who had a big helping hand in terms of that ball going in. And United have got 6. One more and they get the same amount of goals as they did 14 years ago. And they're continuing their trend of 4 games played against Roma at Old Trafford. And they've scored 4. There is so much space down Roma's left. Fernandes is just walking through the Roma defence through the middle. But then Smalling's there to come across and clear. But what a second half he's had. We talked about how before the game, he is a man that you've got to keep an eye on throughout, man mark him. It looked like Amadou Diawara was going to do that. And in the first half, to an extent, he did that, did the Ghanaian. But the second half, Fernandes has won that battle and has really shown what a class act he is. As that is his final act. He scored that beautiful chip over Pau Lopez inside 9 minutes. And then he, of course, scored the penalty at 4-2. to continue his fine record in the Europa League and his rare minutes for Juan Mata to come on a winner of the Europa League with both Manchester United and Chelsea in 2013 and 2017 respectively. As he is going to come on now for the final 2 minutes or so. Well, it's been a good night for Manchester United. Of course, they did not have it all their own way in this tie, which is quite hard to believe. They were 2-1 down at the end of the first half. And then, of course, Cavani with that equaliser 4 minutes into it, or around about that time, got them back on level terms. And then since then, it has just been a one-way street of attack after attack from Manchester United. Greenwood scored the last of the goals, and then Fernandes also hit another one. Cavani scored as well, another goal, and Fernandes, and then Pogba scored as well. There's 2 minutes have been added on here. 2 more minutes of a nightmare to enjoy here for Roma. And a game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live. Manchester United 6. Roma 2, the home of alternative commentary. Remember, you can follow us on @Commentary Live 1 on Twitter. Capital C, capital L, either side of that. And then, of course, the number 1 alongside it as well as Pogba plays it along the floor to Matic, who then plays a first-time pass on that left foot of his to Wan-Bissaka. Now Greenwood coming on his left foot. Closed down well by Perez. Cleared forward by Ibanez. You can find us on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/footcomlive. Capital F, capital C, and then capital L as well for that. And of course, if you didn't already hear, we are joining forces with the Premier League and the various social media accounts run by English clubs in terms of the bank holiday blackout starting from 3 p.m. tomorrow. We won't be streaming our games on our Twitter or Twitch pages. And of course, we won't be streaming it until midnight on Monday. So, of course, that is news that you might not have heard of for regular viewers and listeners to our streams. Of course, so it means our bank holiday action will have to be done elsewhere, of course, which you'll see Championship action on Saturday lunchtime with Sheffield Wednesday against Nottingham Forest. Premier League action with Newcastle and Arsenal on Sunday. And then, of course, we will have action from the Hawthorns as West Brom take on Wolves in the Black Country Derby. And then Burnley entertain West Ham aside chasing the Champions League, which, of course, took a dent after Chelsea beat them at the London Stadium on Saturday. Here's Greenwood. Time is up. And that is it. Well, what a second half performance it was from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. They will take a 4-goal deficit with them to the Stadio Olimpico next Thursday after their romping second half performance in which they were so clinical and far too strong for Roma and really showed a golfing class. Bruno Fernandes opened the scoring inside 9 minutes with a delicious chip over Pau Lopez. Roma then found themselves an equaliser from the penalty spot with a Paul Pogba handball from a Rick Karsdorp cross, which Pellegrini took and scored to make it 1-1. He then set up Edin Dzeko, who hit the ball against his shin to make it 2-1 and put Roma in front of the break. Even they probably couldn't have fathomed their fans in Italy what happened in the second half, as United scored 5 in the second half to completely turn the tide in their favour. Cavani scoring 2, Fernandez added another one from the penalty spot, just as he did against Granada in Spain back in early April. Paul Pogba scored a header, and then Mason Greenwood was also on the score sheet with the last one. Full time at Old Trafford, Manchester United 6, Roma 2.
Very big thank you there to Matt Iles for coverage on the Manchester United game. And in the game between Villarreal and Arsenal, Arsenal lost by 2-1. The other scores which I mentioned at half time are all finished, apart from Maritimo versus Sporting Braga. They played 63 minutes. That is currently still 0-0. If you want to find out how they got on, visit the local web, visit your footballing choice of websites where you get your scores from. Before we finish off here tonight, just going to quickly just ask our match commentator one simple question. And that question is, Matt Iles, who was your man of the match sponsored by Commentary Services this evening?
It's a really hard choice between two players, Bruno Fernandes and Edinson Cavani, but I have to go with Cavani. Got two assists, 2 goals. His goal was a massive moment for United because it lifted the whole team on the pitch. You could just sense that. He took his first goal superbly with that first-time finish right into the top corner of Antonio Morante's goal. And that set the tone. That then got United kicking and screaming and alive in this first leg. He then added a really good second goal in which he just got in the right position. Got a big helping out from the keeper, yes, but he still managed to stick the ball in the back of the net and do superbly to score. And then, of course, he got a really good assist for Fernandez's opening goal, the opening goal of the night. And then, of course, he also set up Greenwood's goal with that absolutely sensational pass from the outside of his foot. So that is why, for me, he is the man of the match. And he's a player who a lot of people raised eyebrows at signing. I was a little bit sceptical, but I think, to be fair, he has shown why United bought him on a free transfer. And I think he's shown this season in particular that he doesn't need to be playing every single week, but he can still be feeling fit. He can still be feeling fresh, and he will always have that striker's instinct to score.
Yes, she's quite right there, Matt. Quite right, he has the striker's instinct to score. And Edinson Cavani gets man of the match, sponsored by the brilliant Commentary Services. And just going to quickly touch upon the performance in the second half from Manchester United. And they were 2-1 down at the break, Matt. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's words of wisdom, whichever he decided to choose at half time, seemed to have worked. What do you think was the main reason why Manchester United performed better in the second half compared to what they did in the first?
Well, they had a point to prove, didn't they? They were 2-1 down. They needed a reaction. They needed to lift themselves to the attacking quality they had on the pitch in Rashford, Fernandes, Pogba and Cavani. They needed to do something. And I thought that they were going to do that. They were well below par in that first half. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have certainly told his players that. There's no doubt about it. But I just think they just showed what they're capable of as an attacking team. They played higher up the pitch. Roma, you knew, weren't going to go and get another goal. I think they were trying to hold on to 2-1. Their defensive frailties really shown. I thought they were really poor in terms of just gifting United goals. But United still had to give an extra gear or two, and they certainly did that, Ross.
Yeah, yes, they did, Matt. They certainly did indeed. And going into that second leg next week in Rome between Manchester United and Roma, what do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be changing, if anything? Do you think he'll be changing anything going into the second leg, or do you think he'll say to his team, "You've got one foot in the final now, just go out there, try and get a few more goals, but do not sit back as such. Try to go out, attack, see if you can get more goals and extend the aggregate scoreline, or do you think he'll want him to sit back and relax a little bit to the end of that match there?"
It's a very interesting point, isn't it? I mean, you look at it, and obviously the beauty of it is that they're in a very comfortable position. Of course, Solskjaer won't want to admit that, but he'll be absolutely delighted the fact that they are going to Rome next week and the Stadio Olimpico with a 4-goal cushion. I think what he'll say is that they can't get complacent, they can't get too over themselves. We have seen in the European competitions over the last few years that comebacks can happen. The absolutely unexpected can be made possible. So obviously he'll have that in his mind, but United, they don't need to do a lot to win. I think they'll always have that ability to score. I think Roma really showed that they were a mentally weak side in that second half. When it really went against them, they just sort of crumbled and just fell into little pieces, didn't they? And they've got to go out next week. If they score early, it still means that they are 3 behind. They've got to at least score 4. And I just seriously cannot see that they will, and that United won't score over in Rome next week.
Yes, and we're joined as well by the man who covered the other game this evening for us, Mr. Mike Cornerman. And Mike, just going to fit you in for a second. And would you like to give the people who was listening to this coverage a little report on the game that happened between Villarreal and Arsenal tonight?
Yeah, good evening, Russ. Good evening, Matt. So the game finished as a victory for Unai Emery's Villarreal by 2-1 over Arsenal. The goal scorers for Villarreal were the midfielder, which was Trigueros and Albiol. Danny Ceballos saw red for 2 yellow cards for Arsenal. Then Nicola Pepe scored a penalty as well after, I think it was Bukayo Saka that was fouled. And then Ezri Capoue got a second yellow as well while he was actually injured on the stretcher. Saka involved again, and Capoue was sent off as well. So those 2 guys will miss the game next week. But Unai Emery's got the better of Mikel Arteta on this occasion, and let's see whether Arsenal can bounce back. The fact they've got the away goal certainly does give Arsenal and Mikel Arteta a little bit of hope still.
Yes, and Matt, just a quick one while we still got you there for a moment, just before we finish up. The red cards for Ceballos and Etienne Capoue, in your opinion, take away the fact that you support Arsenal, but in your opinion, from a neutral and from a football commentator standpoint, do you think there should have been red cards for both players, second yellows?
In my opinion, yeah, I think the 2 red cards are pretty justified, really. Arsenal actually could have had a penalty earlier on in the game as well, in fact, and Nicola Pepe went down in the box, but it was overruled by VAR, and there was a handball by Pepe on the run, and I think it was a definite handball as well. He controlled the ball with his hand, and the referee got that one right in the end with the help of his officials. But I think he got the red cards right as well, yeah.
Just want to say a big thank you to you, man, for popping in at the end of our coverage here on Football Commentary Live. But like myself and Matt said during our coverage tonight, on Twitter and on Twitch over the weekend, we'll be bringing you the commentaries that we've got lined up as we're taking part in the social media blackout on
Absolutely.
Saturday.
And what I was going to say, just quickly in regards to my game as well, I actually just realised I didn't give a man of the match in that game. So my man of the match for Villarreal was the number 11, Chuck Wasey. I thought he was good and lively. So if anyone listens to my stream, then Chuck Wasey is my man of the match. But I will put it out and let people know that that's who I've given my vote to.
Yes, so as I was about to say, on the weekend matches, which are going to be just live across the YouTube channel, where you're also probably listening to this tonight, we've got Sheffield United Nottingham Forest at 12 with Nicholas Jones alongside myself on analysis and co-commentary duty. On Sunday, we've got Jack Cunningham alongside Mike Orman for Newcastle against Arsenal. At 6 o'clock on Monday, we've got the Black Country Derby between West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers with Kieran Riley. And then on Monday evening at 8:15, Burnley against West Ham United in the Premier League with myself. And then back on all social media platforms next Tuesday evening, we've got the Champions League semi-final second leg between Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain. Man City lead 2-1 from the first leg. Join Matt Iles on commentary for that one on that day as well. So
what I was going to say as well, just quickly before you wrap this up, is my next stream after Sunday will probably be the second leg of the Arsenal game against Villarreal, and see whether Arsenal can overturn that 2-1 deficit.
Okay, thank you very much, Max. I just want to say, on behalf of myself and Matt, for the coverage of Manchester United versus Roma, Manchester United 6-2 winners in the end, and Manchester United must look like they've got 1 foot into the Europa League final. But for myself
Arsenal
and
were
Matt
beaten
and everyone
by
at Football Punch
Villarreal.
Live,
I was
thank
just going
you
to say,
and good
in the
night.
other game, Arsenal beaten 2-1 by Villarreal as well, the game that I was covering, and I actually said that Man United